In today's video, we are going to cover accrual versus deferrals. We will start with what are accruals, what are deferrals, why they are important, what is the difference between accruals and deferrals. We are also going to look at few of the examples of accrual and deferrals. And lastly, we are going to look at some of the most important interview questions that you should prepare before going for your next interview. So first thing first, let's talk about what are accruals. So accruals are expenses that have been incurred but not yet paid, or revenue that has been earned but not yet collected. Okay. So what is the meaning of accrual? The expense which you have incurred but you have not paid for them yet, or the revenue which you have earned but against that revenue you have not received the cash yet. So this is your accrual. Okay, great. Let's understand the accrual concept with the help of one example. So let's suppose you are staying in a rented house and you have not paid the rent for this month yet. In that case, you need to record the rent expense by creating a current liability of outstanding rent or rent payable. So what is the journal entry which you are going to pass in this case? Your journal entry will be rent expense account debit to rent payable account or outstanding rent account, whatever you want to use. So you will debit rent expense account and create a outstanding or payable liability, which is going to be your current liability. Let's look at another example and better understand it. So if you sell a product in November but don't receive payment until December, in that case, what you have to do is you will accrue the revenue for the sale of November in the November month itself. So what is the journal entry you are going to pass in that case? Accounts receivable account debit to sales account. Okay, great. Now let's move ahead and talk about deferrals. So what are deferrals? Deferrals are opposite of accruals. They are expenses that have been paid but not yet incurred, or revenue that has been collected but not yet earned. So what is the meaning of that? So deferrals are exactly opposite of accruals. In the case of deferrals, what happens is you have paid or received the cash, but you have not incurred the expense or you have not earned the revenue yet. Okay, let's understand it better with the help of one example. So let's suppose you are staying in a rented house and you have paid the rent for this month in advance. In that case, you need to record the transaction by creating a current asset of prepaid rent against the cash which you have paid. So what is the journal entry we are going to pass? Prepaid rent account debit to cash account. So we have created a current asset which is named as prepaid rent and we have paid the cash. That's why we have credited the cash account. Let's understand the deferrals with the help of another example. In case you will sell a product in December, but you have already received the payment in November month, in that case, what you will do is you will have to record unearned revenue or advances against the payment which you have received. So what will be your entry in that case? Bank account debit to unearned income account. Unearned income will be kind of your current liability in that case. Okay, great. Now let's move ahead and talk about importance of accruals and deferrals. So accrual and deferrals are important because they help match revenue and expenses to period in which they were earned or incurred. This is important for providing an accurate picture of a company's financial performance. Okay, great. Now let's move ahead and talk about what are the difference between accruals and deferrals. So accruals are recognized in the period in which they are earned or incurred, regardless if we have received or we have paid the cash or not. On the other hand, deferrals are recognized in the period in which they are paid or received, regardless if we have earned it or not. So in case of accruals, cash is not important. If you have earned any income or incurred any expense, you need to record that into the books of account. On the other hand, in case of deferrals, if you have paid cash or received cash, only then you will record the transaction in the books of account. So I hope this difference is clear to you guys. Okay, great. Now let's move ahead and talk about few of the examples of accrual. So if interviewer asks you, share few of the example of accrual, you can share examples like wages expense, outstanding interest expense, outstanding rent expense, or sales tax payable. So these are few of the examples which you can share if interviewer asks you what kind of accrual journals company books or what kind of accrual journals you book. Okay, great. Moving ahead, now let's talk about few of the example related to deferrals. So if interviewer asks you deferral examples, you can give example of prepaid rent or earned revenue or even prepaid insurance. And let's suppose if you are not able to recall them, you can give example of any prepaid expense as deferral. Okay, great. Now let's move ahead and talk about few of the important interview questions which you must prepare before going for an interview in any top company. So I am sharing 10 of the most important questions which interviewer can ask you based on the topic accrual or deferrals. I have not covered the journal entry questions here, but yes, definitely they can ask you journal entry related questions as well. So if you have watched this video sincerely, you will be able to answer all of these questions easily. But in case, let's suppose you are not able to answer them or you want me to share the answers, what you can do is you can head to my website corporatewala.in, and there you will find the PDF notes of this video along with the answer of all these 10 questions. I will give you the download link in the description of this video, or you can also scan this QR code and it will redirect you to the web page from where you can get this PDF. I hope you got to learn something from this video. If you did, make sure you like it, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon with another video.